I'm Angel Warrior. Welcome back to another talk. Today I'm going to talk about my healing journey. What it meant to me and what I found and how I got through it. So it wasn't until 1999 that the way that I treated myself became hazardous to me, and I ended up in the hospital for physical and mental problems. And I had been completely healthy before that. I pretty much ran myself down to the ground. And truth is, I didn't know much about health, and I didn't know how to take care of myself, what mattered. I'd always been healthy, and so I just thought, well, I neglected that whole part of my life until I couldn't avoid it anymore. But self-care really hasn't came in until recently, and this was 23 years ago. So my self-care is really good now, but even before, like, healing takes work. You're going to the doctor, you gotta work through your issues, work through your trauma. You gotta know how you feel about certain things that I didn't have before. And I have spent a long time finding myself. And at first it was a lot of like bipolar tendencies. I would stay up all night, and or else I would like be really sad, and that was relatively easy for me to heal from that. I still had sleep problems all the way up until 5 years ago when I started taking Lavelle. 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I was very sick, and that was my very important, very crucially in the moment thing that I needed to heal right away was my bipolar tendencies. I was on lithium until I healed that. Then I got on sleep pills for the insomnia, and I went on antidepressants for the depression. And my depression was getting worse and worse and worse after that time. And I was on the maximum dose of Prozac. And it wasn't feeling right to me. It just felt like this fake happy, and I didn't like the fake happy. And I was on the maximum dose, and I found a specialist to help me heal that part, the depression. It was really simple stuff, like mainly to cut it short, like I was telling myself things that were not true that caused my depression. And I still work on rethinking my thinking, and I've been doing it now for 14 years. I've been off antidepressant medications. So my therapist helped me heal thinking and coping skills that caused me to go down on my antidepressants and finally off 14 years ago. And I still monitor that, and I still have to make an effort to say the right things to myself about what's going on. Because like put it succinctly, like I was miserable with myself. I didn't want to put up with myself. So I used drugs and alcohol to escape, because it wasn't any fun, the things I was telling myself. And that's just not healthy. That's just not healthy. If that is going on with you, it is not healthy. It's so important, the things that we tell ourselves, because actually our brains, send messages. The brain, different parts of the brain send messages to different other parts of the brain, and all the time, and that makes new connections, and then more stuff comes from that, and like the brain is like a super highway. So you got all of these lanes, and everything's interacting with each other all the time. And if we aren't feeding ourselves the right thoughts, it triggers other bad things to happen. If we tell ourselves the right thoughts, which are good for us, like, valuing myself as I am, that's a good thought. So from that, I can get all these other interconnections, and other findings, connections. Everything's about connecting, in life. And if you're feeding yourself bad stuff, you're gonna not be connecting. It's just not gonna be logical or legitimate for other connections to be made unless your brain is working well. Healthy brain, right thoughts. And then there's also relationships. Relationships come from the way we talk to ourselves. If we're talking to ourselves badly, we'll probably draw in a bad relationship. If we're condemning ourselves for everything that's happening in our lives, we're probably going to draw more of that in. And it's because we're maladaptive. People are maladaptive, so we fit in where we fit in. It's where you fit, So I healed from the depression, and then I got more into the real cause of my problems. And I had a serious trauma before my breakdown, and I had many others in my life. But the trigger for a while was the one in college that actually caused the breakdown. And for a while, I went through really bad flashbacks, bad dreams. I was learning to forgive that person, and it was very hard. But I eventually did it. Eventually, the nightmares stopped coming, and the anniversary day didn't hold as much weight as it had at one point. And I really white knuckled that part. Like, I fought every day to keep myself well, despite all of these negative memories, occurrences, triggers. I was going to the hospital too at that time, but they didn't keep me very long, and then I would go home and go back over to the hospital again, and was going in and out for a while. So finally my dad said, we have to do something different, because I was living with my dad at the time. He said we have to do something different, and we decided on adult foster care home for me. And that's when I moved here to St. Peter, and I really wasn't doing that well when I first went there. And I saw a huge turnaround for myself in a couple years. I was making good steps and starting to gain a social support system. And before I knew it, 2 years went by, and I was looking at moving out on my own with a roommate to start out with. So I lived with a roommate for 1 year, and then I got introduced to Lavelle, moved here where I am right now, and it's been good. It's been really good, except for the last 2 years. The big realization that I will always have paranoid thoughts because of my trauma, and need medications. And so I'm on medications, I'm healthy, I'm well, I'm taking care of myself, I'm telling myself the right things, I have a good social support system. And I'm just taking things one day at a time. But I consider myself well now. Even though I take medications, I consider myself healthy and well. And that was my struggle for the last 23 years. I wanted to be healthy, and like I had to lose my health to want it, and I did, and I am well again. So right now I get to look towards my future and creating happiness in my life. And I don't know anything about that either. I didn't know anything about my health. That's why I suffered a mental breakdown. I didn't know how to take care of myself. It wouldn't have mattered to me if I had been. I didn't have the value in it that it deserved, and now I do. So I intend to create this for happiness too. Have a life that I'm happy in. Like today, it's really hard for me to smile. I have wanted love for a really long time, and I put it on the back burner for my health. And now I want love because I'm healthy and I can share a good part of myself with someone. And I don't think I'll be satisfied until I have love in my life and am successful in my work and have a family of my own. And so I haven't stopped, but I am focused on ingraining the parts of my health that need to be ingrained for my future. And I'm more on that than the work and the love right now, but those things will come. And I think they're coming even today, not focused on them, but naturally I'm drawing them to my life. And I have a positive outlook, just like I did with my health. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, but this is what it looks like. And I feel good. I feel good. And that's what matters. So thanks for visiting me today, and I'll see you next time.